Hi there, Aric Hall with the Blaze of Glory. Well, you've seen my videos and pictures from Red Canyon, Rock Creek, the Rock Slide, and then there was my trip up Coffin Creek. Today we're going to do just a quick whip round of some pictures I took at various points around the western end of Lake Hebgen. This first photograph was taken facing southwest across Hebgen Lake. This is taken from somewhere around the mouth of either Red Canyon Creek or Grayling Creek. Notice how clear the skies are. Make sure you go before the wildfire covers the place in smoke. Here I am at the Kirkwood trailhead. Now this is still north of Lake Hebgen, but it's close to the Hebgen Dam. It's where the lake becomes a fairly narrow channel. And you can see behind me, well, there's pine and sage. This is the trailhead that I mentioned that you have to walk about a mile to get to the actual creek, because where the creek entrance is all private property. So the Forest Service puts this trailhead down the road and around the corner. Kirkwood Creek and the No Name Creek that's just upstream from it are the only two creeks that I know of anywhere in this region that Forrest Fenn has not mentioned, either fishing along or having some family affair or being lost in. This is the road going into the Kirkwood Creek. This is the road going up to Kirkwood Creek. While standing near the trailhead of Kirkwood Creek, we turn around and look to the south across the finger that is the west end of Hebgen Lake. What we're facing here is Trapper Creek. Now, Trapper Creek is entirely forested. There is a Forest Service road you can take to get to that, but I didn't want to venture that far out in my little car because I didn't know that I could make it out there. And there's no sage out there. Now, the mouth of Trapper Creek is one of those that Forrest Fenn mentioned fishing by, but I doubt that there is anything upstream from there that would interest us just because there's no sage. Across Hebgen Lake here, that forested notch in the mountainside, that's Trapper Creek. Now you notice it's all pine, no sage, and no animals that are visible. That's one of the places where Forrest Fenn said he liked to fish around Lake Hebgen, along with about 5 other places. Trapper Creek. On the far west end of Hebgen Lake is Hebgen Dam. Now when you see the sides of these mountains on each side, how they come close together, you can see why it's a perfect spot to put a dam. This dam, at least the earthen portion of it, was highly damaged during the 1959 earthquake. You can probably make out from this black and white museum photograph that the dam cracked up quite a bit. But it earned the reputation as the dam that stood, because despite its damage, it never collapsed. You may have noticed that my pictures are of different degrees of daylight and darkness, sunrise and sunset, clear days and rainy days. And that means I took all these pictures and video clips over a variety of days. And you'll notice also near the dam there's 2 or 3 information signs out there, but you're not allowed to get to those anymore. There's no more public access that close to the dam. And I'm sure if those people saw me taking all of these pictures and video clips of the dam, I probably would have gotten a visit from the Homeland Insecurity people. These last couple of pictures is down below the spillway, looking back upstream toward the backside of the dam. And then I took some pictures further downstream. If you're standing out there, you can make out the notorious wooden box that's hanging from a guide wire cable. It's like an old gauging station contraption. There's also the trout fishermen standing out there. That water all summer long is fairly deep. It's not something I'd want to go wandering across myself, because every now and then you get to watch somebody fall in. The next collection of photographs is of the mouth of Watkins Creek. Now, the first several photographs I took are from the north side of Lake Hebgen, facing to the south. Watkins Creek is on the south side. You can tell from the different photographs, clear days and smoky days, you know which ones were taken before the wildfire outbreak and which ones were taken afterwards. Watkins Creek, or the mouth of it, is one of those places where Forrest Fenn claims to have fished. We've even seen the photographs of that. I think there was one in the middle of the Thrill of the Chase. I did go out there. I never hiked into that creek other than, I took the trail up a half a mile or so, but I quickly lost interest in that. The trail is nowhere near the creek for the first 3/4 of a mile or so up in there. And by the time you get to that point, you lose the sage and are up into that mountainside pine forest. But this is a nice secluded location. I certainly recommend the visit. You might want to take a horse if you're going to hike all the way up in there. Watkins Creek eventually forks. You have the upper part of Watkins Creek and Coffin Creek as you get up into that area of the snow-capped mountain. Do you think Coffin Creek could be the place that he wanted to leave his bones? Before we leave the trailhead of Watkins Creek, I want to turn us back around and face the north. Now we're looking across that delta of Watkins Creek, looking across the west end of Lake Hebgen to the north. And those mountains off to the north are those around Red Canyon, the ones that Forrest and Donnie probably wandered around north of. One of the things I want to point out here is if you look at a couple of these pictures, on the left-hand side of the picture, you see a mountain off in the distance that has like a long off-white scar along the top of that mountain. Well, that's along Kirkwood Creek, which was on the north side of Lake Hebgen. Now, that's not a place that Forrest Fenn ever mentioned, but that part of that mountain that stands out is something that might be worthy of a little bit more investigation. One of my observations about Watkins Creek, like so many other creeks that go up into Forest Service land, the areas that are near the shoreline, the prime real estate, that's all private property. There are several houses and private driveways around that mouth and delta of Watkins Creek, and you're not allowed to be anywhere near that shoreline area where Forrest Fenn once fished. To the southeast of the Watkins Creek access point is the Lonesomehurst campground. Now this is one of the Forest Service campgrounds that I stayed in. I have one picture standing on the shoreline there at Lake Hebgen, facing north toward the main body of the water. Then I have a couple of other pictures facing south, looking up that fork of the lake, which is where the South Fork Madison River feeds into Lake Hebgen. It's coming in from the south into that lake. And of course, you notice when I was there, we had a thunderstorm come through. I even think there was a little bit of hail in that storm, but we had some nice rainbows as the storm passed through. Well, that's the end of this quick tour around the west end of Hebgen Lake. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, comment, and donate.